Hey folks, Mike Perlack here to entertain you with the help of John Williams. A work of art, wooden craftsmanship put together by an uncle of mine. He passed away, but he gave this to me a few years back. I wanted to make a video basically further elaborating on some of the things I already talked about in prior videos, especially the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger giving birth. Well, and talk about the example from my own life that gives me the perspective that I have, because obviously I can only speak from my own personal perspective and the way I view what's going on around me in this world today. So, an example from my own life that to me it represents proof positive that modern extreme feminism and SJW is creating an environment where the female of the species honestly thinks they are entitled, repeat, entitled to having their cake and eating it too. I was involved with someone a while back, casually, who verbalized to me, requesting my help getting their ex back, but still wanted to maintain being involved with me. And I remember they seemed shocked, probably used to being considered, quote, hot stuff. And them being in shock at my not being straight up down for such a thing. I mean, what more do you need to prove that, this modern extreme feminism is devoid of honor, moral, and respect? And this is why this revelation I've come to realize was the initial gut reaction was one of depression, sadness, because I'm forced to really examine the real possibility that honor, moral, and respect are in fact masculine qualities and completely alien to the feminine. At this time in my life, my eyes were still closed, and I will admit that I was still potentially heading towards the future of a simp or a beta. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. So with all this in mind, I've come to the conclusion, for me personally anyways, when you consider the statistics about marriage, and 70% of divorces are initiated by the females. That and the what I regard as bullcrap family law that hide behind this idea that they're working in the interest of we the people, which is just that, bullcrap. But until these laws change, I think the only man who should be constantly pursuing a marriage is one whose only ambition in life is to take care of and constantly be trying to appease a Jabba the Hutt-like creature and feminist minions. Those are the only men that should be considering marriage at this day and age. Which brings into question the true translations of the Hutsi language. Loosely translated, that means their child support. Loosely translated, that means their alimony. And I guess loosely translated means financially support that child I sized with your best friend, Pizza the Hutt. Pizza was more of a man than you ever were. At least that one night anyways. But you're paying for the kid, Because, well, Pizza was a bad boy gangster and met with that demise in the back of his limo, and he was just trying to make a business deal so he'd have the money to buy a bigger diamond ring than that chip you poor excuse of a man bought me. Anyways, if there's a guy out there whose ambition in life is to be subservient to a Jabba the Hutt-like creature, a creature whose only ambition in turn is to ultimately be married to the state, raising a couple of spawns to be obedient workers and consumers for the state in a household with no appropriate masculine guidance. And those are the only men who should be engaging in marriage until the laws change. And I guess at that point, the only thing left for the Jabba the Hutt-like creature to do is to get fat and die. So for me, the conclusion I've come to for myself is if I cannot have the life I desire with a woman, in other words, she'd be my wife, the mother of my children, work her ass off to make our home, our house, a home, then it's better that I just live the life of the lone wolf, because life with a woman for me then is only going to make me susceptible to sinning against her on account of my own frustrations with the problems in this world that are just so deep. Much the way an aging feminist, blinded to the errors of the feminist movement in modern times, are bitter. The ones that have the simp or beta in their life, they aim that bitterness at them, saying stuff like, "Buy me this! Do that, and I might have sex with you tonight!" It's not all gloom and despair, though. I mean, if the bitterness, if extreme modern feminism ideology has not totally been successful at raping their minds, then they just might have been able to retain enough true feminine strength for some of that bitterness to be in actuality frustration. Their subconscious, strong feminine mind is saying, "Why can't you be a man and display some sort of masculinity so that my strong femininity has something to bump heads with?" But sadly, the last 50 years or so has created an environment where such a thing is impossible for a beta and a simp. Remember, their minds were raped by this ideology too. Mine was until a couple weeks ago. You see it every day. The toxic masculinity. Let's ban everything male. Let's invade and anything. Let's not let men do anything. Meanwhile, toxic femininity is allowed to go dancing in the street singing, "Girls just want to have fun." No offense to Cyndi Lauper. I actually have something in common with Cyndi Lauper. We both struggle with psoriasis. So, but I think you get my point. And these simps or betas that I'm talking about, these back in the day they called them yes ma'am. The type, "Yes, honey, your SJW and your feminist friends say I, the man in the relationship, should be doing what? Yes, honey, I'll get right on that. I'll get right on it." Is it any wonder that these females' vaginas are completely devoid of the ability to secrete for these poor saps? Devoid of any masculine backbone? I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't talk too much smack about them, because if I were honest with myself and anybody watching this, if my life had traveled a different path, I might, and I stress the word might be one of these poor guys. But then I think, no, I think I have a pretty damn good memory. And when I think back of all those times in my life that I chose to go right and I could have went left, but something was drawing me right. I called it fate back then, but I don't know, maybe it was God. But all those times in my life, I could have went left and I went right. Because I would never settle. If I knew in my heart what I was being handed was not for me, I wouldn't settle. Despite the child abuse, anybody who saw my first video, despite having survived child abuse and being made to feel like human garbage by my father till at least the age of 12, despite all that, somewhere along the way, I had to have acquired a sense of self-worth. Was that you? Thank you. I don't want to commit the sin of pride, but maybe you really do. At the very least, you must like me. Anyways, yeah, just all that. Just knowing that I, a man born with a masculine mind, have come full circle at a life that is free from that entrapment that unfortunately a lot of poor souls are in. And just knowing that is a really good feeling. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up, ready to say, I think I'll make a few snappies today. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling you know that extreme modern feminism and SJW ideology is surely pointless social political strategy. I think I'll end this video with a few more Hutzi's translations. Loosely translated, that means, I am woman, hear me roar! That last one, loosely translated, means, bow to me and my feminist minions. I did have one more idea that just popped in my head. I have a suggestion for a new icon for modern extreme feminism. The icon should represent the image of a big fat lady laying on her back, legs sprawled out, with the caption, I am woman, hear me fart. Thank you for watching. I welcome any arguments, intelligent arguments, in the comments below. Just make your arguments represent a full and perplexed thought. That's all I ask.